Hi everyone, welcome back. So I went on a Japan trip last year in December and bought a whole lot of stuff which I couldn't fit in my luggage. So I shipped them back to myself and I am so happy that they have arrived safely. Well, 2 out of 3 parcels are here, so I'm gonna open these 2 up first. By the way, for the parcels which I sent to myself, I've got quite a bit of irrelevant stuff inside. I mean, it's just to fill the gaps and add as cushioning. So I'll just censor those out. For today's video, I'll only be going through the anime related stuff and interesting things which I got from Japan. So without wasting any more time, let's open this up. The first box was shipped from Tokyo back in December last year by sea shipping, and it finally arrived in February this year. Opening this box up, the first bunch of things I have are doujins. And these are various anime doujins from various stores like Melon Books in Japan. The first doujin I got is by one of my favorite artists, Sakiyama. This is the Full Girls Volume 2 and it features very colorful illustrations of very beautiful girls. I also picked up Bunny's Volume 5 from the same artist, which also features beautiful girls in bunny suits. I'm glad I managed to find these as these were the latest doujins from this artist. Now I'm missing Volume 4 of the Bunny series. The next doujin I picked up is Yorozu, and it features various fan arts by the artist Lam. I love seeing the characters that I recognize in this very talented artist's art style. So yeah, this is a nice little book to have. Next is some doujins for Kaiju 8. Well, for Hoshina specifically. This first doujin features Hoshina with cute little doggies. Yes, that's it. All I need is Hoshina with some puppies and I'm sold. Next is a comic doujin of Hoshina and Narumi. I don't know Japanese, so I don't know what this is about, but I love the art style of these two in this comic. So yeah, just for that I got this. It makes a good drawing reference. The next Kaiju 8 doujin is also a comic for Hoshina and Narumi. And I also love how this artist has drawn these two. Well, this is a R18 comic, so that's all I can show you. Moving on, I have a Demonslayer doujin of Rengoku and Tengen. Don't know what this story is about, but seeing Rengoku eating very realistic looking Taiwan food looks amazing. The art style is so gorgeous and this doujin is so worth it. Next up, I have a One Piece doujin of the 2 clowns Buggy and Corazon. Not a pairing I would imagine, but the way this artist illustrated Buggy makes me see him in a different light. Oh, don't get me wrong, I love Buggy as a comic relief in One Piece. And it's nice to see Corazon alive in this series. Okay, the last doujin I got is for Has Been Hotel. And despite the official pairing, I quite like Alistair and Charlie. And this artist drew the 2 of them very beautifully. I would definitely like to pick up more from this artist as well as this series if I can. Okay, back to the box. I also picked up some art books and the first is this Demonslayer art book 3 which was released when I was in Japan. Inside are various anime illustrations from the Red Light District arc. But I would have preferred if the illustrations were in the manga art style, just like the cover. Oh wells. The next book I picked up is the Sanji's Pirate Recipes. And even though this is pretty cheap directly from Japan, it's in Japanese. So I'll have to learn the language or translate it in order to cook any of these recipes. One of the days, I'm gonna have to try cooking this. The food just looks so yum. Moving on, I also picked up Lam's art book from the exhibition which I managed to catch in Ikebukuro Animate back when I was in Japan. It came with 2 postcards, and these illustrations are stunning. The collection in this book is also very comprehensive and beautiful. I would say this is highly recommended for anyone who loves these artist's works. Okay, that's all the books I got in this box. Moving on to some figures, starting off with the Genya and Sanemi Nendoroids. I wasn't sure if I wanted to expand my Demonslayer Nendoroid collection, but since I have all the characters so far, I figured I might as well since it's cheaper directly from Japan. Oh, by the way, there's one thing I really hate about Nendoroid packaging. And it's how the tape for the separate base packet keeps getting stuck to the box. And this tape is super strong. I'm always worried it will break the box. Look at this annoying thing. Oops, sorry for the rant. Anyway, this is Genya's set of instructions in both Japanese and English. Next is the separate packet with the base, which is still in the old design, as well as the rest of the components for Genya. Yeah, this is all the parts which comes with the Genya Nendoroid. Next is Sanemi. Taking Sanemi out, I am so happy that that annoying tape is not stuck to the box. Here is his set of instructions in both English as well as Japanese. Next, I have that separate packet of the base with the spare neck joint. Here are the different components which Sanemi comes with, which is not as much as Genya. Here are all the components for Sanemi, and now to assemble the nendoroids. For both of these nendos, I want to display them in these two poses, especially that cinema roll face for Genya. I'll start off with Sanemi, and he needs to be taken apart first. Poof, this is the pose I'll have him in. Next, I will need to set him up on the base, and I'm really glad that my base is not loose at all. Last but not least is to give this guy his sword. With that, the chibi Sanemi nendoroid is done. Next is to assemble Genya. Genya was an angry potato in the beginning of this series, but look at how much of a cinema roll he is now to Tanjiro. That's why I want to give this Nendo this cinema roll look as he looks up to his angry bro. And this is the pose I want for Genya. Next is to attach him to the base support. Before putting him on the base, it would be easier to attach his sword first if it's on his back. Lastly is to set Genya on the base. And with that, the Genya nendoroid is fully assembled. He's such a cinema roll. I feel that if you get one, you definitely need to get the other. It would be cruel to separate them. I also have no plans on getting any scale figures of these two, so I'm glad to have their nendoroids to represent them in my collection. I find the chibification of these two quite accurately done. It's nice that their outfit is not like the usual Demonslayer corps uniform, making these two pretty unique. Sanemi's scars are really captured well, and his hair sculpt is very detailed with nice shading. My only issue is that he doesn't come with much components. As for Genya, his extra demon form is a nice additional component to have, but I still prefer his cinema roll look, so he's gonna remain like this. Okay, back to the box. The next set of figures I have is the Gojo and Geto lookup figures. There are other versions of these two, but after much consideration, I felt that these two are the best, and I only want one set. Mainly it's because Gojo has glasses which are blue and translucent, and his mouth is open, which is a nice detail. For this particular set, both of them are in their black suits, just like this illustration of them. So although I initially just wanted a Gojo, I had to get Geto as well. After all, they come as a pair. And indeed, putting the two of them together like this is just so adorable. I'm quite happy I managed to find both of them in Japan. This chibified Geto is quite nicely done. His little black round earrings are very nicely sculpted, as well as his simple man bun hairstyle. As for Gojo, his hair is much busier, and yeah, I really love his blue translucent glasses. It matches his very pretty blue eyes. Best of all, my favorite feature for lookup figures is messing with their movable heads. It's so fun to rotate their heads about like this. Super adorable. Back to the box, this is the last figure in this box, and I got the Kuji Prize D figure of Lunch from the Dragonball series. This is from the Snap Collection Kuji set. Sadly, when I was in Japan, this Kuji was no longer available, but they were selling this figure second-hand at various places. I got her for about 9,000 yen, but if I wasn't impulsive and tried harder, I could actually find her for 6,000 yen at Ikebukuro Traders. This Kuji set has figure prices which are amazing. They are either riding on a bicycle or motorbike, and this is my favorite one. For the components, there is only Lunch as well as the motorbike. Now to set this up. For assembly, here is Lunch, and I just have to seat her on the bike. Next, I'll need to push her hands into the bike handles, and sadly this requires quite a bit of force on both sides. It's not fun. Thankfully, nothing is damaged. With that, Lunch is fully assembled, and she is about 15 cm high, which is quite a nice size. The bike is decently big, with a good amount of details. If I'm not wrong, These Snap Collection figures are like the cheaper version of the desktop real McCoy figures, which are quite expensive in the aftermarket. There was a desktop real McCoy prototype for launch in this same pose, but it never happened. Instead, we got this Kuji prize figure, so I'll just take it. Zooming in, Lunch is quite accurately done, with a very lovely hair sculpt. Her big doe eyes are super cute, and it's in the very classic Dragonball style. As for the bike, this was the reason I wanted this figure. It's super cool looking. The retro vibes it's giving is so nostalgic, and there's quite a lot of details on this prize figure. A really sweet deal if you actually want this 700 yen Kuji. And that's it for box 1. Moving on to box 2, which I shipped to myself from Japan. Shipping was about 9,000 yen, which is not bad considering what I've got in here. And first up, I got these Trafalgar Law boxers. I'm no man, but I want this thing. I'm sorry, it's just hilarious. Having law on your butt is just hilarious. And it's a high quality print of law at that. I don't know what to do with this yet, but I'm tempted to put this on my shelf or on some big plushie. The next One Piece item I got is this Crocodile Mugi-tama plush. I remember this guy was always out of stock when my proxy was in Japan. But surprisingly, when I was in Japan, he was available in stock, so I picked one up. This crocodile plush is more detailed compared to most other Mugi-tama because of his outfit. Mainly, it's his left hand hook and the coat. And it's a really nice plush of this guy. The last One Piece stuff I got are these OP card game storage box sets. And these boxes features the various gorgeous designs of either Boa, Law, Luffy, Shanks, or Yamato. I needed Law, and it's random, so I'm so happy that I got him. Look at how pretty this box is. It's dumb, but I got this for the box. For most people, the main highlight is what's in the box. And firstly, you get a promo card pack where you stand a chance to get a rare and expensive gold rim card, like this one. There are also 5 packs of the OP The Best card set. And the hit is the manga Nami, but honestly, I doubt it will be in here. With my card sleeves prepared, it's time to open the packs up. And I'm just gonna speed run through this. But what I understand about this set is that it features cards from the previous OP booster sets, some of which have new alternate arts. There are also these new Dawn card designs representing different characters. What's interesting is that some of the common cards from the old sets have this new pirate flag foil in this new set, and it looks quite pretty. Oh wow, I got a small hit. This is the Kuzan SEC card, and look at that pretty foil. It's actually engraved as well. As for the promo card pack, the first card I got is Pendine. And the next is a colorful Nami card. Sadly, there's no gold rim, so it's not a hit. Next is the Law box, and inside I have the same bunch of packs. Yeah, not much of a hit from these packs, but some of the pirate flag foils are nice to have. Oh, I got a full art card and it's pink. Who could it be? And it's just Momo. Not my favorite, but I'll take it. As for the promo pack, I got another Nami, but no golden rim. Sobs. As for the next card, I got Kid. Yay! Not bad, I quite like this guy. No gold rim, but I'll take it. Okay, back to the parcel. The next item I got is this lucid plush ball from the maplestory event I attended in Japan. I really need more merch of this girl. Please, I need an Android of her. By the way, this plush is not very squishy, so it doesn't serve well as a stress ball. Next from this box are the figures, starting off with this small one. This is the Vox Akuma Ohiru Neko mini figure. I got this secondhand from traders at Ikebukuro. My recommendation for anyone looking for reasonably priced figures in Japan. To be honest, I don't really watch VTubers, but I really love the design of Vox. Sometimes I watch his videos, but not regularly. Regardless, I am really happy to have this very cute minifigure of him. He is in a Neko form and he is sleeping, so it's super adorable. Even though this is such a minifigure, I think they captured the character design of Vox really well in this chibi form. His little black hair sculpt has red highlights, and there are flowery prints which are nicely done on his cape. So not bad for a minifigure. Okay, the next figure I picked up from traders again is the Tengen Chokonose prize figure by Sega. And this is for only under 10 USD. I'm really happy to have picked this Tengen up in a kimono with his hair down. This is my favorite form for this guy. He's such a charmer. Opening this box up, there is only one blister package, and inside, I have the figure of Tengen himself. Also taped to the blister package is his little weapon, which is a wooden sword, I think. And that's all there is for this figure. Now, to set him up. For assembly, I just have to insert this wooden sword into his hand. And that's it. For under 10 bucks, this price figure is 11 cm high and he is quite heavy. Makes a good paperweight. His hair and outfit is also very nicely sculpted, but the seam lines are obvious and the shading is lacking. I'm actually quite impressed with the execution of his face. He looks fairly accurate to the character design. Plus, his hands and feet are also decently sculpted. I especially love the painted nails. However, the paintwork is quite messy like over here. But it's just a price figure for about 10 bucks, so I won't expect so much from it. Next up, I have a scale figure which I also got from traders for only 2200 yen. This is the 1/7 scale figure of Nanjo Hikaru from Idol Master Cinderella Girls by Wave. She was originally about 30,000 yen, and I'm surprised she been so much in the aftermarket to under 15 USD. The design of this figure is quite nice since it caught my eye, and I picked her up since I was kinda curious. For the price, this figure has an extra hairpiece. She also comes with a shiny silver mic, as well as the figure herself. And that's all the components I have for this figure. Now, to set her up. Under her shoes, there are 2 holes, and this slots into the 2 metal pegs on the base. She fits quite snugly in her base, and it's quite stable. By the way, look at the shading and glossiness of her shoes. I'm quite impressed. Next up, her hairpiece with the shades can actually be swapped out with the hairpiece without the shades. But I like the shades, so I'm sticking to the original one. However, the reason I took her hairpiece out is because I want to insert her mic. Her hair is kinda in the way. Actually, her entire head was in the way, but I wasn't sure if it was removable. There were no instructions, so I just winged it. Regardless, I think it was okay since the mic got into her hands without any damage. With that, the 1/7 scale figure of Nanjo Hikaru is done. And at this scale, she is 18 cm high with her crouching pose. For the price I got her at, it's super worth it. She's got this retro sci-fi vibe, which is very unique. I wouldn't have known that this was from Idol Master at first glance. Zooming in, her face is very cute, with her smiling mouth nicely sculpted. The addition of the blue shades is also a very nice detail. Her hair sculpt is simple, but the shading looks way better than a lot of other expensive scale figures out there. Moving down the figure, it was her outfit that caught my eye. This sci-fi suit has so much details. The red suit has a dark red shading and is in a matte finish. This contrasts with her glossy white vest, which is also nicely shaded with blue tints. I especially love the details on her belt. That piece of acrylic has the word "either" in it. However, for the paint job, it's very messy. The paint lines are not crisp and clean, so I suppose this is why she was not worth the original price. As for the base, it's got a tacky design, but really suits this retro vibe figure. My only issue is the size and shape of it. If it was round, it would have been more space efficient. Not really a fan of square bases. Okay, that's it for that. Next, I have a Sonico tenitol figure, and surprisingly, I found her from Ami at about 3,500 yen, which is lower than her original retail price of 4,500 yen. She was the last one on the shelf, so lucky me. Opening this figure up, there is only one blister package, and inside, there is this very amazing looking diorama base. The base also comes with this very unique road sign. And lastly, here is the figure of Sonico herself in a very colorful bodysuit. That's all the components for this figure. Now to assemble her. Here is the diorama base with 3 holes on it. This is for the 2 plastic pegs on Sonico's shoes, as well as the base of the signpost. Sonico slots into her base quite smoothly, so no problems there. As for the signpost, it must be inserted at the correct angle to go in properly. And with that, I have Sonico fully assembled. Once again, tenitol figures have wowed me. She is about 19 cm high, and that's around a 1/8 scale figure height. Her pose is interesting, and at this scale, the details put forth in this prize figure is stunning. Zooming in, her face is super cute, typical of Sonico. Her headphones are also very nicely sculpted. But her hair, it's giving me Shiro vibes. I love that baby pink and blue color combination. Tenitol figures really do this color combo justice. They just keep taking my money. Moving down, her bodysuit is also in such a vibrant Tiffany green color that comes in different shades. There are also different shades of purple and grey. There is just so much going on. Plus, the paint job is fairly neat, although it's slightly uneven at some edges. Lastly, the base. It's amazing for a prize figure for under $30. It's a diorama setting, like some roadscape. There is a smoke effect thing, which makes it seem like Sonico just stopped running. Best of all is the signpost. The symbol of Sonico with the headphones at the middle sign is just genius. Speaking of Sonico, I also picked up a scale figure of this girl. This is the Sonico Black Cat figure by Union Creative. And sadly, this figure was originally 15,000 yen, but I paid almost double the price for her. Well, in my defense, I think this is the best price I can find for her, cause this variant can only be obtained from a lottery sale at the Wonderfest event back in 2021. This means you need to win a lottery to get a chance to buy her. She has a cheaper white cat variant, and you can still find her in Tokyo around the original price. Well, I saw her back in 2024, so this could change over time. But nah, I prefer this darker skin variant because of the color contrast. Anyway, here are all the components for this figure. So now to assemble her. But before I get into that, I must first remove all the plastic wrapping. Yes, this girl is partially cast off. This outer jacket is in a semi-flexible material, which makes it easier to take out. But that doesn't mean the experience of removing it was pleasant. I still dislike removing parts like this. Thankfully, I don't think I scuffed the figure. As for the plastic, I don't intend to cast off this figure, so I'll just slide it out. And her bare body sculpt is gorgeous. But having the red jacket on looks way nicer. However, putting it back on is another story. I really dislike doing this. Anyway, with the jacket back on, I can now set her on the base. She has 2 holes under the shoes, and this slots into the plastic pegs on the base. I dislike that the base is glossy. It leaves fingerprints. Anyway, next is to put Sonico's head back on, and it goes in quite easily. Lastly is this kitty dish with the word milk on it. It's simply set on the base like so, and that's it. With that, I have the Sonico Black Cat version by Union Creative fully assembled. The scale of this figure isn't indicated, but she is about 27 cm high, so I guess it's a 1/7 scale. For a Union Creative figure, this is quite nice. Her pose is adorable and the color combination is so attractive. Zooming into the figure, her big doe eyes are so lovely. The brown granny glasses are a nice detail, although I find it quite random. Her headphones have kitty ears, which is supposed to look fluffy, but the fluff is pretty hard to sculpt. As for the metal part, it looks really realistic, very nicely done. Her hair strands are also quite finely sculpted with nice shading of light and dark pink. Moving down the figure, I think Union Creative did quite a good job with her sculpt. Her belly profile is very nicely done. The details of her jacket and undergarments are also very lovely. There are lace patterns here and there, and the very neat dashed lines along the edges of the jacket is nicely painted. The shading of the red jacket is also stunning. I'm quite surprised by this level of paintwork by Union Creative. If only they did the same for all their other figures. This shading treatment is also done on the black stockings, which is pretty rare for black outfits. There is also a lace detail at the top edge of these stockings. However, I do find that the transparent plastic used for these lace portions appear cheap looking. As for the shoes, just like the red jacket, it is also very detailed and nicely shaded. All in all, a very well executed figure. Okay, on to the last figure I got in this box, and this is a big one. At 1/4 scale, there is no way I could have carried this back in my luggage. This is the Akutsu Kirara bunny figure I picked up from Ami. She was second-hand for about 26,000 yen. Such a good price for a binding bunny figure. Plus, this artwork is by the very talented Raita. This is not really a cast-off figure cause she has already been cast off by default. So I'm sorry if some of her assets are blocked by my fat fingers. This big girl came in 2 big blister packages, and inside the first one, there is a giant flimsy plastic base with 1 metal pack. Sadly, it's glossy. Next is the realistic looking bar stool, followed by pearlescent and fragile looking wings. If this broke, I would cry. As for the next blister package, inside, I first have this jewel thing which I believe is Kirara's weapon. Next, I have a pair of bunny ears which have starry designs. It's so unique. Last but not least is the figure of Kirara herself. And that's all the components I have for this figure. Now, to assemble her. Hopefully all goes well. To start off assembly, I'll first fix this chair up. Here is the base of the chair, which is in a very shiny glossy silver color. There is a little protrusion at the side over here, and this aligns with the kink in the chair over here. I need to align this to slot the chair into the base. And here is the chair assembled, looking really realistic. Next, under Kirara's heels, there are 2 holes. Do not use force as she slides in very smoothly at an angle into her base. Oh, but when setting her on the base, it's recommended to have the chair in the correct position first. It has an indentation which aligns with her fingers. So the chair should be rotated for the fingers. Moving on is the wings, and it's so beautifully detailed, yet so fragile looking. The plastic packs are so small and they look so breakable. But before I put this on, I need to remove these dummy packs first. It comes out quite nicely. To slot the actual wings in, they need to go in at the correct angle. So not much force is required and it's possible not to break this. Next are the bunny ears. This design is really unique for a bunny figure. The plastic packs indicate which is the left or right ear. Because this is a second-hand figure, I'm actually missing one of the dummy pack. But at least it's just the dummy pack. For the actual ears, they go in quite easily, so that's nice. Lastly, I have her weapon, and there is a plastic pack on it. This slots into the hole at the side of her legs. With that, the 1/4 bunny figure of Kirara, illustrated by Raita by binding, is fully assembled. And she was originally 30,000 yen, so I got her for a slightly lower price. Although she is missing a dummy pack, but that's okay with me. However, compared to the promo pictures, her skin color is actually darker and less red. I do find the original colors more vibrant, and it works better with this blue bunny figure. However, this dark brown skin color is still gorgeous. I suppose this is the reason why the figure is slightly cheaper in the aftermarket. Zooming into the figure, her face is quite lovely. The little white dots at the edges of her eyes are a very cute detail. As for her hair, I love this spiral drill design. The scalp is so busy and wow. There is also some shading on it. However, I find the colors rather dull. It was certainly more vibrant in the promo pictures. As for the face, although I find the eyes lovely, I find that the mouth is not as nice as the promo pictures. The scalp looks somewhat okay, but the colors, it's not glossy, and the inner side of her mouth was supposed to be a bit reddish, so a bit disappointed for that. Moving down the figure, I love the color of Kirara's bunny suit. It's in a glossy, vibrant cyan color that contrasts really well with her dark skin tone. The white netted stockings also contrast really well with this figure. There are also some additional details on her suit, like the rosette with her name on it. I also really love her bright green fingernails. The paint job is very neat and gorgeous. On the back, Kirara's bunny tail is also quite interesting. There is an outer layer of fluff, and her back scalp is also very detailed with the shoulder blades. Lastly, for the base, Kirara is supported on only one leg and the bar stool. Unfortunately, the bar stool is not secured to the base, and that makes this figure quite unstable. It's a challenge to carry her around. The base is also very big yet flimsy. I would have preferred a smaller and heavier base, to be honest. Okay, I'm back. So one day later, this big guy came, and this is the last and final parcel I shipped to myself from Japan. So let me open this up so I can include it in this video. This third box was shipped in January earlier this year, and I received it in February. As for the goodies, I got more books in here. And the first is this art book Unreal by Rurudo. I'm in love with Rurudo's artwork and had to pick this one up. I'm quite happy I got this at Animate because the price was quite reasonable. There are a few of these illustrations used for Rurudo's figures in this book, and the artwork is very lovely. The next art book is one I highly recommend by this artist now Tsukiji, and I have 3 of her art books. I was quite happy to have stumbled upon this 4th one. This artist did the manga Tengen, as well as I got reincarnated in a BL world, and she draws really gorgeous looking men, so definitely worth checking out in the name of art. The next art book I have is the 50th anniversary tribute art book for the Cutie and Honey series. As the name suggests, it features artworks by various artists for this series. This art book also comes with 2 very lovely postcards. Also, there are actually 2 books. One of the book is kinda safe for work, and the other, not so safe. There is nothing exposed, but the clothes are exploding off. Regardless, it's a nice collection to have. The next book I have is the Soul Eater Soul Art Encore Volume 3. And the cover illustration is so attractive. The outer plastic sleeve is also a very nice packaging. Inside, it features very colorful manga art of the Soul Eater series. Now I wish I have volume 1 and 2, but sadly, both are crazy expensive. I wonder if books can get re-released. Hopefully they do. Anyway, the last book I bought from Japan is the fairy tale art book Magnolia. Apparently, it features fairy tale illustrations by Hiro Mashima from the first and second art book, plus alpha, whatever that means. For under 40 USD, this is a really thick and heavy book. The next bunch of stuff are mainly badges, and firstly, I have stuff which I got from Comic Cat last year in December. These are the Kuji prizes I won at the UFO table booth. This is prize F, which is the lowest price, and with my luck, I got quite a few of them. This is a can badge of Gyu, and although it's a last prize, the artwork looks pretty nice. It's in the manga art style, so really artistic looking. Besides prize F, I also got the prize E badge, which is slightly bigger. Plus, it has some gold foil prints on it, so it looks a bit nicer. Another badge I got was free, and it's from the maplestory event I stumbled upon in Japan. I got this for raising my hand as a fist when they were playing some rock paper scissors game. I unknowingly won this badge of orchid. The last badge I got is this Law Birthday Can badge, and it's second-hand. This badge actually comes from a blind pack, and with my luck, it's impossible to get. So instead, I had rather find this second-hand at K-Books. And I quite love this badge because of the gold foil texture. It's a very nice law badge. Back to the parcel, I also have the remaining goodies from the Moss Burger Fuku bag opened previously in my Japan haul video. This is the bulky box which I couldn't fit in my luggage, and inside, I have a chopper bottle as well as a Luffy snack tongs. The chopper bottle is super adorable with the giant chopper hat. To be honest, I can't bear to use it. As for the snack tongs, it's basically tongs shaped as Luffy's Gumi Gumi hands. And to be honest, the grip is pretty weak, so I doubt this is usable to grab snacks. But the idea and the container for this is genius. Back to the box, we now have some figures. And first up, I picked up the Yoko nendoroid from Ami Ami. She happened to release when I was in Japan, so I figured I might as well get this. I do like Studio Trigger stuff. And yes, Yoko is in the new box design, which is way smaller than the original nendoroid box. To be honest, for saving space, this is not so bad. But for display and verifying contents, not so much. Well, based on public opinion, this new box got cancelled, so now it's a limited edition box. Glad I have one for memory's sake. Inside, the box has 3 more boxes, and the shelf-like design is actually quite creative, to be honest. Very interesting origami. The inner side of the box is just a plain cardboard box, and unlike the original nendoroid box, it doesn't have this color back panel piece, which makes sense since there's no display. Yeah, getting theirs for the same price basically, in terms of value. As for the Nendo components, I first have 2 additional faceplates, snugly fit into this cardboard box. Inside the next box is the Nendo of Yoko, wrapped in styrofoam and plastic. I'm quite glad that the foam is not in contact with the nendoroid. My experience with foam and sticky figures is not pleasant. The foam tends to peel and stick to the figure, leaving a rough texture which is impossible to remove, especially on painted areas. Inside the last box, I first have a set of instructions in both English and Japanese. Next is the packet with the base, and I'm so happy there's no super sticky tape here. Next, I have Yoko's red ponytail, followed by the smaller components in the prize figure-like plastic bag. Well, it kinda works, so okay. This Yoko nendoroid basically comes with the shades, followed by the hair piece, an extra arm piece, another extra arm piece, and an extra leg piece. Lastly is Yoko's gun. The straps are pink. Nice. Here are all the components for Yoko, and now to assemble these. For Yoko, I want to display her in this pose. So first, I need to change her faceplate. The hair joint is quite tight as well as the faceplate, so gotta be careful with that. And here is the face which I want to go with. Before I put the hair back on, I want to attach the shades, and it goes into the hole at the back of the hairpiece here. Putting this back on, Yoko looks so cool with the shades. Next, I want to change her pose, and I need to swap out the leg first. These are the new Nendo legs which comes with a dummy pack, making it easier to remove with the grip handle. With the dummy pack out, I can swap out the legs. Next is to change the arms, and with the pose done, I can put her head back on. Next is to insert her base support and set her up on the base. This is the new base which has less holes and is thinner. I think I'm okay with this base because the joint is pretty tight and my Nendo doesn't fall over. Moving on is the ponytail, and I love that there is an extra pack for the hair. Like, this is well needed. Colored packs matching the colored parts are hard to obtain, so very welcomed. Next is Yoko's hair accessory, and don't use force to push it in. It goes in very easily at the correct angle. Lastly is the gun. I found it easier to attach her hand onto the gun separately first before putting it back onto the arm. But that arm looks off. I think I got the wrong one. Okay, this should be it. Yep, I think it is. And this is Yoko, fully assembled. She is so adorable. A perfect upgrade from the version 1 with such perfectly fitting joints. Plus, I really appreciate the extra hair joint. This Yoko has been well chibified, and I really want a Kamina nendoroid next. Also, for the base, I quite like that the support doesn't protrude out from the outline of the base, as much as before. This lets me put her inside a slim shelf with ease. Okay, moving on. Inside the parcel, the next figure I picked up is the Shiro Neko Desktop Cute Prize Figure by Taito. And my rule for prize figures in Japan, I told myself to only buy if it's less than 2,000 yen. And yes, it's possible with time. Most places had this Shiro for over 3,000 yen, but outside of Tokyo, at a book off at Machida, I found this Shiro for only 1,500 yen. Only at this price do I think she's worth it. Shiro is about 10 cm high, and despite being a prize figure, she is so adorable and very accurately done. Sadly, I don't like the translucent yellow edges of her hair. It's dull and not as vibrant as the blue and pink hues. Zooming in, her face is very well done even though the figure is so small. Her eyes are big with a lot of details, yet it fits perfectly on her small face. Her shirt is also very nicely sculpted, and even the seam lines on the sleeves are what I would imagine on a regular t-shirt. So yeah, quite worth it for 10 bucks. And finally, this is the last figure I got from Japan. And actually, even though this is a prize figure, I am so happy I found this for the price I paid. I stuck to my rule and got this kusuriri noodle stopper for under 2,000 yen. Everywhere else, whether it's online or at physical stores, he was mostly over 3,000 yen. Most noodle stopper figures look cheap, but because of the sheer amount of details in this character, this noodle stopper figure looks worth the value. He is about 15 cm high and sits fairly nicely on a cup noodle cup. He has a good weight, so that should hold the cup noodle lid down. Zooming in, he is adorned in a very colorful and busy kimono. And his pose of giving a toast to you is very relevant if you are eating a cup noodle. It's like he's dining with you, so that's nice. For his face, considering this is a prize figure, I think they did his looks justice. The cheeky handsome guy is done well, and even the makeup is very well painted. His hair sculpt is also quite nicely detailed, with the red tips which are nicely painted with a smooth gradient. However, the scarf cap is so-so. The plastic looks cheap even though it's fairly well sculpted. Perhaps it's just a lack of shading. Moving down, his kimono is the eye-catching feature for this figure. It's full of colorful patterns. However, when you take a closer look, the paint job is quite messy. The edges are smudged at some areas, and at some parts the paint seems too thin. As for his shoes, he has a very painful looking geta sandals. It's quite nicely sculpted, but once again, the paint job is pretty messy. Regardless, I still really love this figure of Kusuriri. Figures of this guy don't come by often, and for the price I paid, super worth it. And that's all the remaining items I got from Japan, which I shipped to myself. Now the Japan haul is completed, and I'm so happy all these goodies and figures are home with me, safe and sound. I think I scored some great deals in Japan. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, if you enjoyed what you saw, do leave a like and subscribe with notifications to stay tuned to more videos. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye bye!